Good morning, my artists. Today we're going to be looking at parabolic curves, string art, and the art of geometry, which to me, if I were a little bit younger, I think would be kind of boring, but it can be beautiful, especially in a word that I can't pronounce, Aestheometry. It's all about using straight lines, ruler, and a pencil to create beautiful curves called parabolic curves. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be making different drawings just with straight lines, which again sounds really weird, but it can start to get really complex. We're going to be looking at how we're going to be doing this on just like a regular little graph. Then you're going to make it into kind of organic shapes. I'm going to show you how to make this heart, and then eventually I'm going to show you how to make string art that looks like this. So what you need for the drawing part is something to draw with, a ruler, and a piece of paper. For this string art right here, you need cardboard, string, needle, and a ruler. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about parabolic curves. And if that doesn't sound familiar to you, if you ever worked with a spirograph, this is how you can do it without a spirograph. So get your rulers, get your drawing implements, and let's start making these cool things.
So with this project, it's really important to understand the basics of aestheometry. I have no idea how to say that. Whenever I tried to pronounce it, I always pronounce it wrong. Asked my students from last year. So aestheometry is basically making a curved, implied curve with just straight lines. So when you're making a straight line, obviously, you want to line up your ruler, you want to keep it there, and you want to draw your line, right? I'm just going to make a right angle. So whenever you make a right angle, you want to line up the straight line of your paper and the straight side of your paper with your ruler. And that's how you know it's nice and straight, right? Boom. So now I have a right angle right there. I'm going to be using a pencil just to make sure I'm practicing, I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to start measuring. So I'm going to put my ruler right up against my straight line, and I'm going to measure in millimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to do it again. Measuring in centimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right here. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to line up my first point with the farthest point away with my ruler. So I'm just going to lay down my ruler at my very first point. Maybe I could say point 1 to point 1 up here. So I'm going to line those up. Boom. I'm going to, again, my 2 point is right here. My 2 point is right there. I'm going to line those up with a very straight line. My 3rd point is right there. Line it up. I'm going to continue to do this, and this is going to have an implied curve, which is hard to try to just think in an abstract way, so you're probably just going to have to trust me and see me do it. It's going to look incredibly daunting, incredibly confusing, until you do it for yourself. It's super easy, it's just drawing a straight line. Now again, this is the study of geometry. Aestheometry is the study of the beauty in geometry. Boom. So do you see that curve right here? It's all because I conjoined my point 1 here to the farthest point up here. I drew my second point to 2 up here, my third point to the farthest point, farthest. Now, as long as you can make that 90-degree angle and then connect these, you're ready for the next step. I think we can all admit everybody needs a little bit more of love right now. I'm going to use my knowledge of parabolic curves to make a really cool card. I'm thinking of maybe giving it to my carrier person, my post person. Maybe I'll slip it into my neighbor's mailbox just to say, hey, thinking of you in this time. Maybe I'll mail it to my mom, I don't know. So right here I just made a quick little tracer of a heart and traced it onto a piece of paper. Now I know I need to make symmetrical points on each side. So what I'm going to do is just with my pencil, I'm going to draw, how about we say 8 different points. I'm going to start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to do the same exact thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At this point, I'm going to use my ruler. And remember that I want to connect the farthest points first. So I'm going to use, how about this dark purple? Now I'm using red paper, so my colors are going to look a little funky. Alright, I'm going to go to my next point. Alright, that's my next point. I'm going to try to see through a ruler that is a little bit longer than this one. Making sure I'm really holding that ruler steady, not to go over line it. I'm going to go to my next one. And as we know, it's going to start making that parabolic curve. But I didn't have to make a 90-degree angle. I didn't have to just do it in like a weird graph. I can make it artistic. I can make it my own. You can fill whatever shape you want with these parabolic curves and they'll always look pretty. Later on I'm going to show you how to do this with string, and it's almost easier with string because you don't have to draw anything. String likes to be pulled in a straight line. Ah, it's starting to look so cool. Woohoo! Oh, that already looks so cool. I'm going to go ahead and do it on the opposite side, and I'm going to add in more lines here and here with different colors. But instead of me talking all the way through it, why don't we just watch me do this? Remember, you want the same points, the same number of points on the bottom as you do on the opposite side. I do have this Posca pen. I think it would be a really cool technique to just use it on the top part of this heart. So I think that's going to be one of the last things I do. Then I'm just going to color my background. I could keep working on this all day, truly. I could just keep adding lines, adding colors, but I'm just going to allow it to be nice and simple. I'm going to allow that little mark to stay there. It's okay, it gives a character. Now what I'm going to do is I have black, I have a lighter color pencil in red, and I have a darker red. I'm just gonna add a little bit of a shadow all around here. You do not have to. This is just how I am choosing to make my background. But remember that shadows are closer to the shape, gonna be darker, and then shadows start fading away. So I'm gonna do a teeny tiny shadow in black first around the entire thing. Then I'm going to start blending in a darker red, then blend in my lighter red. And that's gonna make this look like it's popping out and look really cool. This is how my love turned out. I think it looks pretty cool. I like how the shadow made it looks like it's kind of popping up. You can do this with crayons, you can do this with oil pastels, with markers. As long as you have a shadow that goes from dark to lighter, it always makes something look like it's being risen up, like the shadow is going underneath it. So now that we have this kind of beautiful card that you guys could make, let's go and see what we can do with some string and maybe some different shapes. Now what I want to do is you just want to get any old cardboard that you have laying around your house. And you can make it into a circle, you could carve it into a heart. Hearts are really pretty. What I'm gonna do is, again, very extra, but we all know me by now. And I glued some felt onto it. You do not have to by any means at all. I just like the look of felt on cardboard. But once you get your cardboard done, think about what image you want to create. If it wants to be maybe a heart image, and then what points you want to start creating for your heart. If you want it just to be that really simple triangle image, start making your points for those. What I want to do, again, this is super extra, but what I want to do is make sails. I don't think they're going to be that hard. I think they're going to be really cool with the parabolic curve, right? And I think it'll be really neat. So, I'm just drawing out my sails. I want my boat to look like this. And this is all on the back of my cardboard, by the way. I'm not going to see this drawing at all. So I'm going to say I want, how about 13 points? So I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. I am actually going to mark out 13 points on a ruler. I'm going to use centimeters. 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points. You know what, just to round it out, no, I'm going to do 13 points. Now I'm going to make 13 points here. So I know that my last point needs to be right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Whew! Okay, those are going to be teeny tiny. Now what I'm going to do, and I know it sounds odd, but I want to poke holes at all these points. Poke. And just to make sure you're not poking holes into your table like I just did, you might want to lay something down, like another piece of cardboard, or maybe a piece of foam or cutting board that you have to poke your points. I'm going to continue poking all these points, and then I'm going to check back in to thread the needle. Okay, so now what I want to do is anything that I want to start sewing up, I'm going to add some of these points to. So I'm going to start sewing onto my ship I'm going to start sewing onto my other mask here. So I'm going to go ahead and poke all these holes, and then you're going to see how to sew it in just a second. Okay, so I punched all these holes just like I marked all those marks originally with my pencil for this guy. Essentially, wherever I want to make a straight stitch or straight line, that's where I poked a hole. So now I know that I want nice white sails, just like on a sailboat. So I'm going to grab some white string, and I have a whole box of needles right here. Make sure that if you're using strings, you know how to thread a needle, but if you don't, well, let me show you. Then, if you make sure that your thread is nice and taut, just like this, bring your needle through. I'm using embroidery floss, so it's a little bit thicker, so it's a little tricky. But if you're not using embroidery floss, it should be a lot easier. All right, when you thread your needle, then you just want to tie a knot. So if you aren't familiar on how to tie a knot, you make a O with your thread, just like that. Then you bring your thread through the middle of your O, grab your thread, and pull. Boop. Just want one knot. Now, I have some fabric on the back of mine. Oh, we can actually see through. On the back of my cardboard. So remember that this is the back of your cardboard right here. You're not going to be able to see this. So what you want to do is grab a whole bunch of your thread. Whole bunch, whole bunch, whole bunch. Grab more than you need. Hit it. Then just like we made these knots, you want to make a triple knot. Okay, you want to make it bigger so it won't slide through any of these holes. Maybe even a quadruple knot. Now, I'm going to bring my sail right here. I'm going to start just by sliding my needle through that hole right there. I'm going to pull it all the way. Now I want to bring my thread up to this last hole right here. I'm gonna have to find it. Ooh, harder than it might seem. There we go. Bring it all the way through. Now, just like when you were drawing, you were gonna sew from there. The next point. It'll be a lot easier for you guys because you have just cardboard. I had the smart idea to put felt on the back of mine. That made a nice thick line. You're just going to keep sewing in that pattern just like you were drawing. So you're going to go up from the bottom, up and around, and keep going. My camera, in fact, died. I have already finished 2 of my sails. I think they look really cool. The felt is making it a little bit harder for me to see my holes, but I believe you guys saw me do maybe one or like a half one of these, but just in case, I want to show you one more time. I have put my knots on the end of my string. I'm going to start at the end of my sail. Again, I want to make sure that my parabolic curve uses nice straight lines. So I have to hold it up like that because I can't see the holes unless I can see through the light. So if you do want to put fabric on the back of your cardboard, just know it's a little bit harder. I would honestly just paint your cardboard. It's so much easier. This is a pain in the butt. random paint much wrap. Oh my goodness, what a Monday this is. I'm just coming front to back to front. And if I ever want to put a knot in my string, either to make sure my string doesn't slide anywhere, just like in sewing, I always want to put my knots on the back of my cardboard. So it looks nice and clean here. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is really hard to do on camera, I will admit. I am not perfect. So I'm going to keep doing this off camera, and I'm going to show you guys when I'm done with this sail, okay? So when I snap, the sail will be done. Ta-da! Alright, 3 sails finished. It's a pretty cool looking sailboat so far, especially because I only have sails. Now I'm just going to use this brown thread, and I'm going to just stitch in my masts and my actual body of my boat. The way you could do this is you could do another parabolic curve. It probably would look really cool, but I want it to kind of look solid, like a true shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch back and forth, back and forth. I just stitched a really nice straight line onto my boat, just almost to look like planks or that my boat was made out of wood. Then I went back in and I outlined my whole boat with some twine, and I went in and sewed my masts. Quite a bit of time later, I have finally finished my composition of my string art, and here it is. I think it looks beautiful with the rustic wood. I used twine here. I used just embroidery floss here. I did use my parabolic curves with a few stars on the outside. You can see on the back, I have done a bunch. I have tied a bunch of different knots. I just did super simple stitching everywhere except for my parabolic curves. And I think that it came out really cool and intricate looking. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it onto this navy paper, because I think navy and nautical really work well with my theme. I'm going to glue this on here, and then I'm going to glue that navy cardstock onto another piece of paper here, almost like a frame, and then I'm just going to glue on some twine around this so it looks really nautical, it looks really ocean themed, and then I'm gonna have a finished beautiful string art. I'm not gonna lie to you, this was pretty difficult. If you want to figure out an easier way to do the string art, it can look really intricate, it can be a little easier than what I've done here. I did want to challenge myself, but I'm gonna go and finish my composition, and then we're going to sum up all the parabolic curves, the aestheometry, different way to use the Spirograph design. I hope that you had a lot of fun watching this, and I can't wait to see what you guys either make with string, highlighters, pens, Sharpies, pencils. I think these can be such a cool project. Finally! Woohoo! We did it! Well, I did it. You guys watched. Here is the finished product. A lot of glue later, a lot of paper, a lot of string, a lot of patience, but it came out really cool. I could see this in a store. I could see this on the wall. This is just really nice use of geometry and art and composition and craftsmanship, and I really love how it came out. Yay! We did it!
Whew, okay, you did it! I can't wait to see what you guys are making, whether you actually went through with the string art. I know that mine took a little while, but it looks so very cool. I love it so much. Or if you just made your very own abstract, cool parabolic curves. Again, this is super simple as long as you get the hang of it. Point to point, it's just connect the dots, and it's really fun. Maybe spread a little love with your newfound talents and your newfound skills, Or if you just want to have some nice meditative connect the dots time, this is great to do in a journal. So I can't wait to see what you guys have created on your own. Remember to always share with me what you make, and happy parabolic curves, everyone. Have a wonderful day.